Black Seal, back with another episode of Un-American to Be American. Now, last episode we left off with they wouldn't do it for Bernie. This episode, we're going to be calling it Hacks versus Facts. So people keep on talking about the Russians hacked the election, the Russians hacked the election, the Russians hacked the elections, the Russians hacked the elections. It's called propaganda. It's called bullshit. The thing is we're going to use logic versus illogic. We're going to use what people said against what people say. Before the whole election thing started before the polls and all this other stuff was even talked about, Obama himself said that it would be damn near impossible for anybody to hack the freaking election. Here's the thing about it. It would have to be an inside job, meaning local. Now, we know that for a fact, when Al Gore was running against Bush Jr. the first time, all those votes got lost in Florida. And Florida was where they had the big issue at. That was local. That was state. It wasn't international. So what happened was the issue between the voting and the numbers were in the state of Florida. Even when they went back to look at hacked freaking votes that they said were hacked, those were in states. Those were in Montana. They wanted to look at I think it's Montana or Wyoming. Anyways, they went and looked at specific states. So that's local. That's states. So within the states, they're saying these fragging numbers don't make sense. We think they were hacked. This is where the logic comes in. If Russia was hacking the election, wouldn't it be broad instead of just 3 or 4 states? 3 or 4 states? That's not logical. That's a lie. Another big lie is this whole thing about it being hacked. Okay, we know for a fact that the WikiLeaks came out and said the DNC had hacked the nomination for it to be Hilary. WikiLeaks said that. Fact. Nothing happened. So you got somebody within the Democratic Party rigged the nomination to be Hillary Clinton over Bernie, and you guys aren't saying anything. That's why when all these black celebrities and all these other celebrities and all these people say, hey, you're hacked by the Russians, I don't respect you. I don't respect you at all, because the Democratic Party rigged the nomination and you didn't say nothing. If you want to take care of somebody doing hacked or hacking, that's when you should have took care of hacking. You didn't. So I don't respect you. That's hypocrisy. So you would rather oppose a foreign government thousands of miles away, Russians, than oppose a Democratic caucus for rigging the nominee for Hillary. You motherfuckers make no sense. I'm gonna tell you why it's also a lie. We know it's a lie. We know it's a lie not only because Obama said it couldn't be done, which you guys forgot. Remember when that movie came out called The Interviewer with Seth Rogen and James Franco? And Korea said, you show that movie, we're gonna shut things down. Korea hacked into the thing. Right? They did some hacks trying to interfere with the movie. About the screening of it, right? Within seconds, within minutes, within hours, less than I don't know what, the United States government got in there and did a cyber attack on Korea and it shut the power out in North Korea. This response took less than 3 hours. This response took less than 4 hours. This response took less than a day. This response didn't take months of investigation. So if the Russians would have hacked, and they know the Russians would have hacked, they could have cyber attacked them in seconds. or they would have found out, or they would have knew in seconds. When the North Koreans did that pulled that stunt with the interviewer, within hours it was done. They didn't take no months of investigation. Another thing, why would Russia sit there and hack the nomination or hack the election when they gained nothing from it? Yeah, they do, Elliot. They got Trump elected. No, you're stupid. Yeah, they got Trump. No, you're fucking stupid. Popular vote elects senators and representatives in the House. So you elect people to the House and Senate, House of Representatives, and your locals. That's what popular vote does. Popular vote does not elect president. Get your facts straight. Heard D.L. Hughley. The Russians hacked. You don't got your facts. That's stupid for you to say. President is not determined by popular vote. So why are you acting like it's determined by popular vote? D.L. Hughley. That's not fact. And for you to be on that stature and to be telling people that, that's irresponsible. Electoral college determines the president. So if the Russians hack the electoral college votes, then we'd have something to talk about. Then that's when D.L. Hughley can say, hey, guess what? You know something? These guys hacked. That was wrong. That's right there. That's logical. Makes sense because the electoral college votes do determine the president of the United States. That is fact. Electoral college votes determine the president of the United States. That's fact. So I can understand that. If you guys said that, I'd ride with you. I'm about being fair. That's fair. That's logical. That's fair. I don't like cheaters. Which is why I had a big problem with the DNC being hacked for Hillary to be the nominee. So the whole thing is Russia hacks the elections. Okay, so Russia says, hey, we're going to give Trump 3 million more votes than Hillary. We're going to give him 5 million more votes than Hillary. That doesn't determine president. So that would be stupid for them to do. Second of all, when they did a count, they said that it was found out that Hillary had over 2 million more votes than Trump. So if Hillary had over 2 million more votes than Trump, they didn't hack. Because if they would have hacked, they would have made sure you'd have had more numbers, which still wouldn't have did anything because once again, popular vote does not determine the president. So we're gonna have a country. Let's do logic. We're gonna have a country hack an election, and when they hack the election, it doesn't determine who the president is. Not only did they do that, but they're going to leave their calling card. Hey, we did it. Hey, we did it. Hey, we did it. Hey, we did it. That's stupid. That's called propaganda. Why are you falling for it is the question that I want to know. I don't understand why you're falling for it. Because fact is, electoral college determines the president. Anything you hear about the election being rigged and the popular vote, that's bullshit. Because the popular vote does not determine the president. We can cry about it. My people selected this person. That does not determine the president. That's fact. Electoral college was put in place for a reason. Some of you people, you don't understand other people, and you only like people in the city. They only understand inner city life. People in the city, they'll bond together and they have the same problems as in the city life. They don't have the same problems as people on a farm do. They don't have the same problem as people in space do, because there are people living in space on the space station. They don't have the same problem. You have to see things as a universal. If we're a nation, you have to see things as a nation instead of just people in the big city. All of them voted for Hillary. Okay, so there's more than just people in the city. Stop looking at just yourselves. You got to think about other people. And you got to ask yourself this question. I'm going to pose a question to you. Because, once again, we're being logical. Okay? We're not all this propaganda bullshit. We're not onto that. Why would Obama stand so firmly behind Hillary Clinton? Why would he want to even put any power behind her? One reason is she's for the corporations. She's for the system. We know she's for the system. Bilderberg, that's for the system. If you don't know what Bilderberg is, it's where about 100 of the most powerful people in the world meet, and they decide what they're going to be doing around the world for the next year. And they talk to influential people of various countries and companies. These people have immense wealth behind them. Hillary Clinton has been at several of those meetings. It's fact. She knows who these people are. Fact. So, Obama backs her because she's of the establishment. But it doesn't make any sense why he would back her. Like politically back her. She's of the establishment. Okay, she's playing for the corporations. Okay, so hey, we'll sit here and we'll back her because she's playing for the corporation. But seriously, when she ran against Obama, Michelle slammed the hell out of Hillary, saying, how could she be the next president of the United States when she can't even handle things in her house? So how is she going to handle things in the White House? So Obama has been against Hillary already. Since Obama's been against Hillary already, and he's defeated Hillary already, all the stuff that he said about Hillary when he was campaigning against her, you don't think that shit is true? Michelle says she can't even run her own house. How's she supposed to run the White House? And then you're gonna turn around and you're gonna say, yeah, that's who we're back. Like you don't keep track of these things. You don't keep track of who's saying what and what role they're playing. Right? Because we have to hold these people accountable. We have to hold these people accountable for what they say and what they do. Michelle was slamming Hillary hard when she was running against Obama. And now it's just, hey, guess what? Now we're best friends and we do sleepovers together and we sit there and put cucumber paste on our face so we won't get pimples. Nah, it's called propaganda. Obama is backing her because she's of the system, the establishment, corporations. It doesn't make no sense why this woman, this makes no sense because this woman has been under investigation. She has so many bad things on her record. So, politically, it would make sense to back Sanders because Sanders has a cleaner record than Hillary. I'm not saying Sanders doesn't have dirt under his nails because Sanders comes from Vermont and Vermont has a lot of meth in Vermont. Tons of meth in Vermont. And he hasn't taken care of that now, has he? So, I'm not saying that he doesn't have any dirt under his nails, but he's a better person to pick to actually win than Hillary. But Obama backs Hillary. And then they wonder why they lost. And then Obama says, we can't have foreign people interfering in our democratic process. And he's contradicting himself. He's contradicting himself because he's talking about Russia interfering and helping Trump out, but he's not talking about Hillary's Clinton Foundation, which is getting money from Saudi Arabia. It's getting money from other countries. It's getting money from Saudi Arabia, Japan, who knows. It's getting money from various corporations and outside influential corporations and countries. And Obama has not said anything about that because it's a loophole. It's a loophole because she says, hey, I'm using the foundation, and they say, okay, you can use that as a source. But the thing is that see, if these companies and if these foreign companies and countries were to try to donate to her during the campaign, it would be illegal. During the campaign, you're not allowed to accept any kind of monies from any foreign investors or countries. That's illegal. But they can donate it to the charity, to the fundraiser. They can donate it to the Clinton Foundation. And since the Clinton Foundation is an American foundation, they say, some of it's American foundation, you can use it. But they're not questioning the money that's going into the foundation from Saudi Arabia and other places. You see, so Clinton is playing dirty, and Obama is being a bitch and being a hypocrite. You can't talk about the Russians without talking about the Russians trying to influence the elections without talking about Hillary's dirty ass in the Clinton Foundation. So Obama is being a hypocrite. Now here's the thing. Here's the thing. People don't know the history. People talk about make America great again. People talk about I love the United States of America. People talk about America. People are proud of America. There's people that are patriots in America. But there's a lot of people that don't know the history involved in America. Okay? People don't know that during the Civil War, here's the deal. We're going to go back before the Civil War because I'm going to give you a history lesson. During the American Revolution, when the colonies revolted against the British Empire, they fought and defeated the British Empire. They had help from France. France's Navy helped them out. And so they had help from France. Okay? It's the United States' longest ally. It's France. They had help from France, okay? That's what they did. Later, the War of 1812 came. Now, when the United States established themselves as a freaking independent nation, and after they established themselves as an independent nation, they were brought to by foreign banks. Foreign banks came to them and told the United States, we want to take care of your currency and we want to get you guys on your feet. The United States, allegedly, because I'm not there, I'm just going by what I heard, the United States said no. Those foreign those foreign entities, those foreign banks, they end up controlling most of Europe. They end up controlling most of England and France's movements, as far as financial movements, by the early 1800s. Now here's the deal: the War 1812, the British Empire came back over and stormed the United States, stormed the colonies, stormed the good old United States of America, even burned down the White House in the War of 1812. Burned down the White House. So, the British are still pissed off at Americans. The British are still pissed off at Americans for the defeat in the Revolutionary War. Came back to try to reclaim their quote-unquote merchandise, their land, part of their empire. Okay? Now, let's go to Civil War. Civil War, Americans versus Americans. The Union versus Confederacy. Confederacy says, we don't want to take your shit no more. This is how we run business down here. This is what we do. We're having a good, we're sitting here making money down here. We're tired of you guys regulating our money. We're tired of you guys telling us what to do. We want slaves. We're going to keep them, and we're going to make money like we make them. Fuck y'all. We're succeeding from you guys because we don't need you guys to take care of us. And the South is right. They don't need the Union to take care of them. The Union, and you got to understand, back then, the world's number one resource was cotton. That was coming from the United States, the southern part of the United States. They were making millions and millions of dollars in cotton sale. So after making millions of dollars in cotton sale, the South was like, we don't need you motherfuckers. The North, the industry isn't doing as well. Industry does pick up later, but it's not doing so well. So since it's not doing so well, majority of the money that the United States is making and earning is coming from the South. Lincoln, look, you guys can't do that. You're going to mess up the United States of America. I am going to try to keep the United States of America. They have the Civil War. Now, when they have the Civil War and when the North is fighting against the South, they're blooding each other up, killing each other. Lots of men are dying. The British approached themselves the British approached the Southern Confederate Army and starts talking to the Confederate Army about entering the war on their side, loaning them money, giving them weapons, and giving them a navy and manpower if they should need it. Fact. Where do they show you this at? You ever see the movie Gettysburg? Might be the movie. Gettysburg might be the movie. It's either Gettysburg or Of Gods and Generals. I think it's Gettysburg. In Gettysburg, they have Robert E. Lee talking to a banker from Britain. And he tells them, he says, look, we whooped your ass once before, we'll whoop your ass once again. He's letting them know, don't cross us. Now, while the Southern Army was talking to the British, the Russians stepped in. And this is what you guys need to understand. This is what history's not telling you, because they don't want to tell you. The Russians stepped in and told Lincoln, if the British get involved in the war, we have your back. We will wage war in hell on Britain if they interfere in your relations. In other words, the Russians established an alliance with the United States of America in the Civil War. But you don't know that. Why don't you know that? So, we know how this panned out. Britain did not enter the war. Those bitches took their ass and stayed their ass home and drunk tea. And the Russians told them, you step in there, we're going to whoop your ass. We're not playing with you. Because of who was holding the controls. Rothschilds. So, who was holding the control? Rothschilds. So, that's the deal. So, the bankers, Rothschilds, told the Russians, look, since you interfered with us, and since you guys want to talk big to us, we'll get you back. We promise we'll get you back. And they did. Fact. Remember hearing about Rasputin? You remember hearing about Anastasia, the daughter of the slain Tsar, the second Tsar of Russia who got killed? I think it was Tsar Nicholas Alexander. I can't remember his name. The Tsar was killed. It was an inside job. And I bet you I know who. I bet you I know who sent those guys to kill him. The same guy that told them that since they stepped in their way in during the Civil War, they were going to get back at them. And they did. After they got back with them, things in Russia were never the same. Somebody stepped in, started doing things behind the scenes. So, they got back at Russia. Messed them up. So now the thing is that now, after all of this time, the relationship between the United States and Russia has not been the same. Now, they did come together for the space stations in space, because Russia was sending people into space, the United States was sending people into space. So they came together for that, and they did something pretty beautiful with that, you know. So that's pretty cool. But since then, the relations between the United States and Russia has not been so good because of other people, because people that are back in the United States now, because of certain people in the United States that sold us out now, aren't that good. Think about it. I want you to think. After World War II, they started this big, giant propaganda. The news, the media, bitches started this propaganda and started something called the Cold War. They started something called the Cold War. Fact. They started advertising. They were telling Americans, the Russians could bomb us anytime. 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 And they kept playing this every day until Americans, the simple-minded ones, believed that the Russians were going to fucking drop a nuke on their fucking head any fucking minute. So, bitches, what the media started doing, bitches, is they started advertising bomb shelters. People in the 50s and 60s, maybe even 70s, were buying bomb shelters for their houses. This is why I tell you guys the propaganda. The propaganda that you're being told. These people are telling people that they're going to be getting nuclear missiles dropped on their head by the Soviets, by the Russians, USSR. That's what they're saying. And they're selling bomb shelters to these people. And these people are paying lots of money to get bomb shelters installed in their house. This shit happened. This shit was fucking real. But did Russia touch us? No. They didn't. So why was all that energy put on an end to Russia being bad for the United States? Mainly because the people that are controlling the United States don't like Russia. Russia doesn't like them. Russia hasn't forgot about that czar that they killed. And Russia doesn't understand why the United States, as powerful as the United States is taking orders from these people that are controlling her. It's an abusive relationship right now where the United States is not being governed by the freaking governor. Or they're not being governed by the Senate, by the House of Representatives, by the President of the United States. Other people are making choices about what happens to the United States. And they say, you got to believe us. You have to believe us about these Russian hacks. You got to believe us about these Russian hacks. Why? The CIA said so. The FBI said so. The FBI said, you talking about the same FBI that killed Martin Luther King? And told everybody some other white guy did it? You talking about that CIA? You talking about that CIA/FBI? You talking about that intelligence committee? That community? You talking about the same CIA/FBI that when Kennedy got killed, they didn't even do a full investigation? His investigation, that he got shot and killed and everything was over within less than a week. You talking about that intelligence committee? We should trust them. Them. You talking about the same intelligence committee that said Iraq had had weapons of mass destruction? NATO said they didn't, but the United States dropped bombs on them anyways? You talking about that intelligence committee? Propaganda and bullshit. Don't believe what they're saying. Don't do it. You're doing yourself a disservice. So when they talk about hacks, I put up facts. Fact. Russia hacking the elections would not determine the president. So it's stupid for them to even hack. That's fact. Because the election is determined by the electoral college. That's fact. That's not something I'm making up. And then why would they leave their calling card if they did? It's fact. A 15-year-old hacked the FBI. That's fact. Obama said that the only way that these machines can be hacked is locally. That's fact. Now he goes back on his word. And then he's contradicting himself and being a hypocrite because he was allowing Hilary to use money from the Clinton Foundation, but he wants to talk about not having any kind of foreign powers or entities determine the outcome of the election, of a democratic election, which wasn't democratic once they rigged the Democratic nomination. He didn't say shit about that. Him being the President of the United States, his bitch ass did not come out one time and denounce it. Did he? And it's supposed to be a president. Nope, not my president. That's supposed to be your president. So guys, just had to clear that up. Gave you a little bit of history about what happened, who was our ally and who's not our ally, and all these people that are controlling the United States right now that aren't allies with anybody. They're demons. So you guys have a good day, and I will see you guys next time on the next talk, which is going to be about cops. Bye.